We're back with another video. This is a Nerdy by Nature Productions, the We
Oh,
Try channel.
we're both Leroy's apparently. I didn't realize that. Keep going.
I was about to say something inappropriate. I was going to say ninjas with black shirts.
Love it.
This is
Love
our
it indeed.
uniform.
Yeah.
Did you not realize your name was Leroy when you logged in?
Well, no, because I told you I kept switching out to different ones. I had it fixed one time, and I guess I forgot.
So you know what happens. Whoever the first person is to log in, it goes by their name. So a lot of times you're the first person to beat me because of the life that I live, and I have children. Um, so you usually beat me. So a lot of times, if anybody's name is the same, it's usually Michael. So this is a treat for me. This is the We Trying channel. I'm Leroy.
And
That's
apparently
Leroy.
it won't change it. So I guess we're Leroy's. Yeah, this is fun.
Hey man, you Leroy tonight. So be angry. Get you a alcoholic beverage and let the curse words fly.
Sure.
And pretty much you'll have the Leroy down pat.
Hmm.
The reason why we're taping this is because I wanted to get something out there. I wanted to talk to Michael. A lot of bad shit in the news, and I wanted something fun, just to do something different. And I'm gonna try to take my kids to a fireworks display Saturday. So we're gonna
Is
see how
this
that goes.
like, are they doing this as a pre July 4th thing, or what is just fireworks, or what is this?
I got a text
Okay.
from friend of the show Ernie about a fireworks. Oh well, my homeboy Brian, Ernie's friend, wanted to get together with the kids and do something that was like kid friendly, and he
Hmm.
had mentioned a fireworks display. Now I was like looking at the text going back, like I thought it was next week because I thought it was a 4th of July thing. And he
Hmm.
was like, nah, it's this Saturday. And I was like, really? I was like,
Nice.
okay. So we're going to try it because we're going to see how this goes. The kiddos are 5 and 3. We're going to see how this goes. It doesn't get dark because it's still summer until what, 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to leave the house at 7, get there around 8, and let's see how this goes. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, that's why we're here tonight. And uh, I wanted to talk movies. We hadn't talked movies in a while. Summer Game Fest just came. We've been talking video games a lot, which don't get me wrong, I love video games, but I just got to the movies and I got to see F1. And spoiler alert, I loved it. It hit all the beats. It had everybody that I like and some new people that I did not know about. And I wanted to talk what's next for movies as far as like franchises and some of these big name directors and what we want them to see and what they're doing and what they're going to bring to the table. So let's start off. Michael, you saw the last Mission Impossible.
I did.
Quick cliff notes, and we'll get into it based on what you say. What did you think of it?
Too long and too serious.
That is echoed by one of my coworkers. So, what did you think going? So, first of all, let me ask you: did you enjoy the last one?
The last two have been kind of whatever. I feel like they started down this path in the last one. Um, to me, Mission Impossible has been about the silly face mask ripping off stuff.
Yeah.
Um, like that whole concept, it's just slightly ludicrous and absurd, and just I want them to lean into that a little bit more. I feel like the last two movies have been a little bit too self serious, and this one is just, man, only Ethan can do everything. Nobody else can do anything else except Ethan Hunt. The world will not function unless Ethan Hunt does something. And I guess the movies have kind of been going that way, but this one really leaned into it. It is like, okay, all right, sure. Like
So,
it's not a bad movie. It's just like
mhm.
this is really long. is
so,
I get the point. Let's go.
so that's one of the things that we talked about in the last. Because I was I wanted to see this in the theater, and I'm going to. So there's because of the way my job is set up and because of the way my schedule has been, I have not gone to the movies to see everything that I wanted to. I have missed out on 28 Years Later, Ballerina, Mission Impossible. Um, there are things that I want to get to the theater to see. F1 was top of list, and there was like a window that I was able to carve between getting off work early and picking up the kids that I was able to scrunch in F1, and I'm glad I did. I wanted to see Mission Impossible, but I was not in a hurry to see it based on everything we talked about in Dead Reckoning. Is that what it's? Hold on, what is it?
Final Reckoning is
Final
the
Final
most
Reckoning,
recent
but
one.
the last one was, yeah, Dead Reckoning Part One.
Hmm.
Um, I think, again, my favorite out of the franchise is um, Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, and Fallout. I think that is the best three. And if they would have ended it with those three, I was fine.
Hmm.
Dead Reckoning, I thought was a spoiler alert. My boo is no longer in these films. Um,
Hmm.
she's gone on to do her own stuff with Dune and Silo. So that bothered me a little bit. And we went from the goofy, you call it the face switching thing, but we left the goofy of let's put Tom Cruise in these impossible situations where Tom is like, really? And it's almost like he's breaking the fourth wall to the serious, I don't know what you would call it, but like when we open with one of them and he's hanging on the side of a C-130, or when he has to scale the skyscraper in a sandstorm. You know, all these
Hmm.
little things. You even saw it in Fallout when he's arguing with Benji, and Benji's like, "You got to jump out of this window." And there's these people watching him. He's like, and he literally says, "Really?" And Benji's like, "What? It's just easy." And then Benji uh, reorients the tablet. He's like, "Oh, my bad, but you still go do it, right?" I, to me, those were those little things that we enjoyed about Mission Impossible. And without seeing the last one, I do agree they went in a different direction. So I wonder what's next for Christopher McQuarrie, the writer and director of this series, because when you look at his resume, I really want to see him leave this franchise and do something new.
Hmm.
He
I
had
don't know if he's going to be allowed to, because Dead Reckoning did not do what they wanted at the box office, but it could be propaganda. But they seem to be, at least Tom Cruise, seemed to be very happy with what Final Reckoning did opening weekend and like the first 2 weekends. I don't know where it's gone since then, but they seem like they were happy with the numbers for Final Reckoning.
now he's got two new movies coming up. Christopher McQuarrie, The
Okay.
Gauntlet. Detective Shockley must transport a witness to testify against a mobster portrayed by corrupt cops. They hijack a bus, reinforce it, attempting to reach the court while being pursued by armed officers. If that sounds familiar, oh, I was expecting you to be like, oh, that sounds like a movie. It's a remake of The Gauntlet. Clint Eastwood.
I
Oh,
never
you.
seen the Gauntlet,
Oh, okay. Sorry. I really
so
so
it's like I'm not. I don't know movies like you, so
yeah. So this is a remake of the Clint Eastwood movie, The Gauntlet.
okay.
Um, it also stars Scarlett Johansson and supposedly Tom Cruise. That's who signed on. It's Christopher McQuarrie, so of course his boy's going to do it. Now, right now, all I see is on IMDb is Scarlett Johansson and Tom Cruise, Christopher McQuarrie. I don't know if he's going to write it. Um, I liked Christopher McQuarrie as a writer because here's some of his writing credits. Um, so a lot of people don't realize this. He did um, he did a couple of he did well one The Way of the Gun, if you remember that. Benicio del Toro,
Okay.
uh, Ryan Phillippe. He did Valkyrie, which also starred Tom Cruise. Uh, and this is where I think the Tom Cruise, not love affair, but relationship started, Valkyrie, because then he came back and did Jack Reacher. He did wrote Edge of Tomorrow, the screenplay for Rogue Nation, Fallout, and I think that's where he also did the screenplay for Top Gun Maverick, which was directed by Joseph Kosinski. I really Christopher McQuarrie talked about doing a Star Wars movie, and his he wanted to, but then when he saw what happened with Ryan Johnson, he was like, "I'm out,"
Hmm.
which I get. outside of Mission Impossible, seeing what he's done, where would you like to see him go? Because I have two franchises I would like to see. One you love and one I love, but I don't know if he'll do any. It's kind of a pipe dream.
I mean, with him doing stunts the way he does and him blending in humor and action, I know we have. I know you're excited about Denny Villeneuve doing James Bond, but I think
Yeah.
Christopher McQuarrie could do James Bond.
Yes. Before this cast or before this announcement, I would have agreed with you. Now, here's where I want because I think the franchise has gotten stale a little bit, and I think he brings a playfulness to movies that this franchise loves, and I think he can pull this off. I want to see him do either the G.I. Joe Transformers universe
Hmm.
or relaunch Fast and Furious.
Um,
Tear it all down, tear it all down, get new kids, get new people, sprinkling every now and then like this homage to like, grandfather in, let him do Fast and Furious. Now I don't know if Vin Diesel will let that happen, but that's that when I watch
hmm.
Christopher McQuarrie movies, that's what I see. I see this playfulness in those three movies that I named, a touch of seriousness,
I
but
don't hate that idea. I think I am kind of burned out, and I'm ready for Fast and Furious to be over for a while. Let's get this last whenever it's going to be. I mean, clearly the last movie, while Jason Momoa is fantastic, just chewing up the scenery and being ridiculous, the rest of the
it
movie
was
is just
awesome.
kind of like, what is this? Uh, so I'm ready for that franchise to be over and let it rest for about 15, 20 years, and then it could come back.
Yeah, that's
Unless
not gonna
he's,
happen.
I know, but like unless he's just doing something that's completely off the wall. Because if he does anything that is remotely similar to it, to me, I'm kind of like, I have not the last Fast and Furious movie has left a bad taste in my mouth.
It's funny that
So
you say that because you were so in on this movie. I mean, this
I
franchise.
was, I was.
Like
Um,
my friendship with
we've
you.
talked about this,
Yeah,
that both the Mission Impossible movies and the Fast and Furious franchise movies or whatever, I feel like they've had a similar trajectory, like where the first movies were both kind of a little more serious. As crazy as it is, as these people stealing DVDs, whatever, they took what they were doing serious. The movies added more and more people to them, and they added teams, and they got crazier and crazier. And then like the last movies in both franchises are a little too serious for me, and the main character can do no wrong in either franchise.
but see that's where I feel like that's where we've ended up with both franchises.
Hmm.
And I feel like let's swap. Let's take Christopher McQuarrie and put him in the Fast and Furious movies without the Tom Cruise or Vin Diesel, where they're both super. Literally they're both Avengers.
Yeah.
Like they are their own Avengers in their own universe. And when you think of Tom Cruise or Ethan Hunt, he literally is an Avenger in these films. Like no human should be able to pull these things off.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then when you look at Vin Diesel and you look at this crew, you even hear it when Tej, when they the Negroes in space, the whole break, like, are
Hmm.
we invincible? Like, I thought that was hilarious, and I think that is also a nod to them understanding what type of movie they were in and franchise they were in. So I said, okay, let's flip it. Let's put him in that seat and let's see where it goes. Because I feel like you're going to get a remake, and or they're going to continue this franchise within 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, they kept talking about doing the female spinoff of the Fast and Furious stuff. I don't know whatever happened with that. I thought that would have been cool. There's enough
I
characters
do
to make that happen.
agreed.
Where's that at?
We're not getting that anytime soon. I don't think because I think that the time that would have happened I think it's interesting you did not get that film before you got Hobbs and Shaw, because I think that time for that film was because we still hadn't gotten the female Expendables.
Yeah.
We were supposed to get that like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I feel like they like to say that, oh, we're going to get these movies, and then it's just like platitudes, so people will shut up and stop talking about it, and rarely does it actually happen.
Yeah,
Because I mean, they were talking about getting us a female Marvel movie that took forever.
yeah. But I think also Marvel has, and we'll get to Marvel in a second. Some of the problems that they have. What do you think about this idea of if Transformers? So the Anthony Ramos Transformer movies, Rise of the Beast, I thought was fun.
Yeah, I
Um,
enjoyed it.
we took my sister, and my dad. We took him to the theater to see that one. I enjoyed it. I really did. I thought that was a love letter to New York, 90s hip hop. Um, I thought that was fun, and I would like to see what they do. I love the post credit scenes or whatever that the last when they were like this whole idea of Project GI Joe. Um, I wonder what Anthony Ramos's character, who he would be, excuse me, in the GI Joe universe.
Hmm.
I am reading the GI Joe comics right now from Skybound. So there's two different universes. There's the Energon universe, which is GI Joe, Void Wars, and Transformers together in one universe. That is an awesome series. I
You said
suggest
Void Wars.
Void Wars,
What is
VOID.
that? I know Transformers. I know GI Joe. What's Void
So
Wars?
basically, Void Wars is this comic. The premise is there are two alien races at war with each other for a millennia. I can't remember exactly how long. But basically, two of the opposing members. Did you ever watch Enemy Mine?
Yeah,
So imagine that movie in a
where the,
first.
the alien became pregnant.
Let's not talk about that part.
Oh,
Let's
okay,
talk about
sure.
the.
That movie got weird at the end.
Let's skip past that.
Okay,
Uh, the idea of two people who hate each other crash land on a planet and then realize they have more in common than, and then they find Jetfire.
okay,
So that's the so that's how the first issue starts. I'm not going to spoil anything. Just that's how we were introduced. That wait, what? This is so that was Void Wars 1, and that kicked off the whole Transformers GI Joe universe. And Void Wars has its own thing. That's the Energon universe. There's another GI Joe series that is like classic GI Joe, Cobra, Serpentor, Doctor Mindbender, the Pit, all that stuff.
hmm,
I say that to say I'm reading both of these comics or all the both of these universes, and I am so back into GI Joe.
okay.
Watched it as a kid. The vehicles, the uniforms. I think Christopher McQuarrie.
The life lessons. Yeah,
Oh, son, yo, now you know.
don't hide in a refrigerator when you play hide and seek because you can get
Don't talk
locked
to
inside.
don't talk to strangers.
Yeah.
Um, oh, they did heat stroke advisories. My favorite one was they did one about feeding your dog. So
Hmm.
like the kid didn't wash out the dog's dish, and he kept like just putting new food in it, could put new food in it, and so like the parents gave the kid food on a dirty dish to teach him. Um,
Nice.
yeah, I was like, oh, this is like that's how I realized. Oh, don't give my dog a dirty dish. You
Hmm.
know, it wasn't parenting. It was GI Joe.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I bring all that up to say I would love to see Christopher McQuarrie, who's done all the whole spy missions, these crazy stunts, these vehicles, working with Tom Cruise. I believe he's the person who could pull off a GI Joe Transformers franchise. So
Okay.
that's why I wanted your opinion.
Okay.
Um, I want your opinion on Bond and what's next. You, when I texted you and I was all excited, your text was
What
when
did I
I
say?
text. Hold on,
Because
I'm pulling it up
I
because
text you, it is to get a rile out of you.
it was hilarious. I respect it because it's some shit I would do to you. I said, Denis Villeneuve to direct James Bond at Amazon. I think this is huge for the franchise. Michael, calm down, Negro. I said, I shall
Oh,
not.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I think it's cool. It's cool. It is because again, it's weird because I don't know of the two of us. You know movies like me. My the thing I know is video games. You can ask me about video games, and I can go. wax poetic about video games all day. I
Yeah.
don't know movies like that. I enjoy movies, but I don't have like the critical eye that you do when you look at something like and break stuff down. I'm just like, oh, this is cool. I don't know. I'm dumb. Whatever. So I respect what Denny Villeneuve does, but I don't know. I don't feel confident enough to say what he can do to the franchise. I do think he has an artistic vision that I can respect.
Mhm.
Um, so help me out. He did Sicario? No.
He did Sicario.
Okay, I saw
Uh,
Sicario. I really like Sicario. He did
Prisoners.
Prisoners.
Uh-huh.
I saw parts of that and I liked what that was. So I
Really?
do think he has a yeah. I've seen parts of it. I think he has a interesting take with the stuff that he does. I did like both the Dune movies. Um,
Arrival.
which one is that? Is that the one with the aliens?
That doesn't narrow down movies.
Sorry,
That's
is that the one with who's the lady with the red hair? The lady with the red hair. Amy
I'm-
Adams?
yes,
Yes, okay. I like that movie too.
in
So
Hawkeye.
okay, so yeah, and Hawkeye. I did
Yeah.
like that movie.
Also,
So
no, hold on. And Blade Runner sequel.
I didn't see Blade Runner. Don't act surprised. We've
I am
talked about
because
this
I
before.
we have.
Yes, because you
See,
probably made that same stupid face.
here's the thing. As I get older, so here's the thing. Two things. One, it's interesting you did not like Prisoners because I
No, no,
did.
no. I didn't say I didn't like Prisoners.
You said you didn't like where it went, how it made you feel.
No, I didn't say no. I never seen all the Prisoners, so I
Oh,
definitely didn't say that.
what did you? So what did
What
you
I just
just?
said just now is that I've seen parts of it and I liked what I saw.
Oh, I thought you said I didn't like what I saw.
No, 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 no,
Oh,
no.
okay,
I liked
sorry.
it.
So I love Prisoners,
Hmm.
but I saw Prisoners before I had kids,
Hmm.
and I am scared to watch that movie now.
Yeah, I'll be out on the street
And so,
ready to take
like,
people down just looking at your kids weird.
so, and I did not, and I didn't think I'd be that dude, man. Like, I really
Hmm.
didn't think that I would like change my movie habits. But I was talking to one of my coworkers, and we were talking about. So I just saw The Accountant too, um, and I thought it was hilarious. I enjoyed it.
Hmm.
However, there are parts of that movie because it deals with human trafficking in kids. I was like, we should have picked something else. We should have picked serial killers. We should like give me some racism. Like I
Yeah,
leave the
give me
kids
some good old
alone.
racism.
Give me some white supremacists. Like we're
Hmm.
the Nazis. Like
Yeah.
I just wasn't ready for the violence with children. And so when I think of Denny, and I think of Prisoners, that is an awesome film. Every
Hmm.
Hugh Jackman does not get enough credit for being a good actor, and I know that because I don't give him enough credit because I think he's a phenomenal actor who has done a very good job of parlaying being Wolverine and doing some of these other movies, and he's done a very good job. Um, I love Denny in his films, so when I saw this, I was excited.
Hmm.
Um, I think he, I think he brings something to the table where we're going. I have no idea what he's going to bring. Now, my question is for you.
Hmm.
We saw Daniel Craig in his role getting his 007 in the opening of Casino Royale.
Hmm.
I think Casino Royale is one of the best Bond films ever.
Such a good movie. So fun.
Do you want to see them go young Bond? Like, let's start with a secret agent. He's not even a Bond. He's being groomed to be a Bond, kind of like what we see in
Well,
the.
groom to be a Bond or groom to be a double O.
I say groomed to be a Bond, groomed to be
Okay,
like he is Bond, but he's not Bond. If that makes
he's not
sense. In
the
other words,
Bond. Yeah, he's not the
he's not
Bond
the
that we
Bond.
know.
Like he's just James.
Hmm.
Like
He's just Jimmy.
boom,
Yeah,
I like that.
he's
He's
just
just
Jimmy.
like
Okay.
he's like this happy-go-lucky, just Jimmy, playful. He doesn't understand the ramifications of what all this means. He just thinks he's playing spy. He's like get. He is Jack Ryan before Jack Ryan gets serious.
Hmm. Okay. That's a show I
Um,
need to go back to on Amazon. I really enjoyed those first two seasons.
I need
Fell
to
off.
start. I need to start.
That was fun.
Okay.
What's that? Krasinski? He's all right.
Yeah.
He's an okay action guy. Not bad. I like him.
So I'm not sure if I want to see that or what I would love to see. And they kind of did it a little bit with the Daniel Craig Bond. Because I don't know if I want to see a young Bond because we have a video game coming out.
We
Was it
do.
First Light? And so we're
Yeah.
getting that a little bit. And I'm wondering, is this part of their whole the video game and the movie are kind of telling the same story differently?
I don't think
No, no, no.
we.
I'm not saying they're the
Sorry.
same universe or the same
Let me
character.
let you finish. Go ahead.
I don't think they're the same character, same universe. I
Okay.
think they're telling the same type of story. In other words, here's a young
Okay.
person who's in the who's in MI6, who's coming of age and learning what the real world is. Kind of is it that? But I would portend I would love to see. I want to see um what's the last one? Uh
Skyfall? No, not Skyfall.
no, you're right. It is Skyfall. It's not the last one. I want to see
Oh,
Skyfall. I want to see grizzled agent coming in from the cold, this new technology, this new like I want to see how the political landscape has changed, how he deals with the culture changing, how he deals with I know some people are going to get upset about this. How does Bond this idea of this alcoholic workaholic, how does consent play into this? How do the changing attitudes in the world with a white imperialistic colonizing culture that is Britain, that is British, this old idea moving into the new age and these new worlds? Because again, that was one of the things that Vin Diesel and Vin Diesel, I did not realize was going to pop up a lot in this conversation. That was kind of his
yeah.
in Triple X. That was why Triple X hit so hard because James Bond, if you remember the beginning of Triple X, the James Bond person dies because he couldn't fit in to this new world of these new terrorists that were out there, these
Hmm.
new factions. So I kind of want to see that. I want to see them lean into that, bring in the Skyfall and the Triple X, and merge them with Denny's sensibilities and his filmmaking. And what is it like for a person who's raised as one thing to go out in the world, and the world is totally different? Drone warfare, country, the lines of countries moving. You're not welcome in some of these places that you're going to.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like the idea. Yeah, because as a double O agent, he kind of does have impunity to do whatever he wants.
Mhm.
We kind of saw that in the Casino Royale when he went to wherever country he was. He started where he just went into a consulate and just started shooting people and taking a prisoner. He's like, I'll do what I want just to get him. It's fine. I'm white. I'm important. Whatever you back. You can
And
do whatever.
and M's only mad. She was only mad because there were cameras. She wasn't mad at what he did. She was mad he
Nah,
got caught on tape.
he got mad. He got caught. Yeah, pretty much.
That's why I'm gonna
So
teach my kids.
that is that would be interesting to see
Learn where the
a
cameras
new
are.
bond a new bond deal with that and what the ramifications are.
So it's done by Amazon. I think this to me this is huge because I don't know if you remember the reporting was the Broccoli family, or
Hmm.
the people who own Bond, um, kind of you can go back and watch or go back and read some of the articles surrounding how Amazon ended up with the Bond franchise. There was some hurt feelings
Hmm.
where one of the richest men in the world were like, I want that franchise, F those people.
Hmm.
And he there was there's some reporting around the deals and negotiations about how Jeff Bezos was put off by some of the people who owned the Bond franchise, how they felt about him. And he wanted what he wanted and he ended up with it. And some people are out, and I think this is a big swing to change hearts and minds to say Bond is back. Whoever we pick, it's in good hands because this is the director we got.
Hmm.
That to me, that's what this was. This after all the bad press about Behind Bond, and I know a lot of people don't tune into some of this stuff, but I think this was one of those things where they were like, "Hey, you're mad. We know you don't like Jeff Bezos, so you don't. He's rich. You're kind of sick of Amazon. However, didn't he?" And people were like, "Oh," because that
Yeah,
was me.
it kind of gives you a reprieve. You're like, hey, it's okay. You guys got
Okay,
him.
yeah,
You guys
kind
know
of
what you're
like
doing.
what happened with Warner Brothers Discovery when Sinners came out with Ryan Coogler,
Hmm.
because Warner Brothers Discovery, a lot of people who are in the business remember Christopher Nolan basically going out like that after the whole HBO Max day and date, all of that stuff. Christopher Nolan took his ball, went home, went across the street to Universal, and they had some things to clean up, how the relationships to repair, and I do believe that is why they went so hard. Um, me and Andre talked about this at work, friend of the show. That's why I think they went so hard at getting Ryan Coogler to bring Sinners to Warner Brothers Discovery, giving him that massive deal.
Hmm.
Because I think that they realize we don't have anything if we don't have these marquee names attached to these vehicles. And I think it worked out for them. So I think Sinners was a huge success. No,
Hmm.
not that I think. I know Sinners was a huge
It's
success.
about to come to Max soon.
Yeah,
I saw that today.
I bought the Steel book.
Hmm.
So whatever, I'm not watching it streaming. I'm
Okay.
watching whatever. Yeah. Um, who would you like to see as Bond? Do you have a preference? Do you care? We've talked about this before.
I think the last Bond movie did something interesting where, because people are always like, well, Bond can't be female, blah, blah, blah. I think they did an interesting compromise where Bond is a man, that's fine, but the 007 status can be anybody, black,
Yeah.
white, female, male. I thought that was cool personally. I don't know if people consider that was a cop out, but I think that was an interesting play. I think the perfect person did it was Lashana Lynch. Having said that, Bond, I would probably make it a male for sure,
Mhm.
just because I think that's who that character is. And then the 007 status can be whoever, or 00 status. Uh, at one point, I thought it would have been cool to have been Idris. I'm kind of over that now. Um, I don't even know
Yeah.
if he wants to do it or if he ever wanted to do it, and people just wanted him to do it.
I think he wanted to
Um,
do it, but I think he saw the whole hubbub around. It. He was like, "Yeah, I don't need all of that."
who's the guy that was in that Netflix movie, the light skin? Aaron Pierre? Pierre?
Who's going to be John Stewart?
Yeah,
It's interesting you went there because
I like him. And I really liked him based on the name of the movie that I can't remember, but it was really good on Netflix.
Rebel Ridge.
Yes, that was a great movie.
It's sad that I know it and you don't. You watched it. You tried to convince me into watching it.
It's a good movie.
You
Can't
like
remember
you.
the name, but the movie was good.
It's funny that you. And that's a whole nother conversation about Netflix and movies and not remembering the name, but because they make some good stuff and it's like, what was that movie with Sandra Bullock and blindness and they have
Bird
a
Box.
lot of
Yeah, I
movies
remember
like
the
that.
name
Yeah.
of that title.
But what I'm saying is, so I like that you went him. What do you think about Ray J Jean Pierre? Because I
The dude from the Sexy
Bridgerton,
Time stuff,
Bridgerton, but
Bridgerton,
also he was in The Gray Man and he was in. If you
Dungeons
haven't
and
seen it,
Dragons.
go see Black Bag. I think it's streaming on Amazon. I mean, it's streaming in a lot of places where you can rent, but I think it's
Where did I
free
see it?
on.
Yeah, I saw it on Peacock.
Yes, it is.
Um,
He is
it's a good
very
movie.
good at that. He is very good. Like he, re- that movie is very good, and I wish it had gotten more people watch it. It's just very good. What do you think about him? Because that's not my pick. I have an idea of where I think Denny should go,
Um,
but I'll wait till
he's
you.
cool. I like him. I don't know that I've seen enough stuff from him to like see a lot of his like aggressiveness.
Hmm.
I think I really the reason I really liked Aaron Pierre, Paul, John, Paul, Luke, Gossett Jr., whatever his name is. Um,
So racist.
because he did he him being that one man band, his own version of a Rambo in Rebel Ridge was kind of cool, and to seeing him do so many different emotions within that movie. I'm not saying that Jean Pierre, Luke, whoever you said, Regé, Jaja Jabu. Um,
You
I'm
know
not
who
saying that he doesn't have that. I
you know
haven't seen it.
do you know who I heard just now when you said that John Jabubu? I was like, that was some JR shit.
Hmm.
That was some racist JR shit when
Maybe subconsciously I was channeling him because he's back
when
on the
he
desk now. I don't know.
when he would say some shit and then we would get at it and
Yeah.
he'd get mad at me. He was like, fuck you, Leroy. And I'm like, hey man, stop being racist. That's that's how it sounds. Because I remember this one day, JR couldn't say this name.
Hmm.
And he was like, I can't say it. I said, motherfucker, you can say Zach Galifianakis. And the look on his face.
Regé Jean Page, Regis Jean
There you go.
Perlu,
Mhm.
Regis Jean Wiergi.
So I'm gonna say what I want to see for this next Bond film. I want to see.
John Cena.
Da, 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 da,
I don't know who
da,
you're gonna
da,
say.
da.
Yeah.
When you said that, I love the John Cena music. I
Hmm.
hated John Cena when he first came out because I was like, oh my gosh, this is how do you guys gentrify hip hop?
Yeah.
Like, but
That's coming back in a big way now in his final
I've
year, which is great.
I've come to love John Cena. I have.
Yeah.
I would I you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing John Cena as that archetype American like in a James Bond film,
Oh, to play
like
off of James Bond,
kind of
like
like
the
Jeffrey
guy
Wright.
who kept. Oh, I was going to talk about the guy who kept calling. Uh, who was Remington Steele? Pierce
Oh, Pierce
Brosnan.
Brosnan.
The guy that kept calling him Jimbo
See,
in
I
those
was
in
gonna.
those James Bond movies. I don't know, remember, but there was an
I'm gonna
American
be
guy
honest with
like
you.
that.
I liked I liked John Cena in the Bumblebee film, and I think they should bring him back. I loved him as the role.
Hmm.
So here's I wouldn't mind seeing John Cena in that type of role,
Okay.
and that type of like I am American imperialism, and
Hmm.
and this James Bond navigating this. Here's my pitch for
Side
James.
note, you're talking about American imperialism. I'm excited for this Heads of State movie. Like, I don't think it's going to be great,
Yes,
but to
no,
watch it at my house, yeah, watch some
here's the
popcorn or
thing.
something. I think that'll be
I
fun.
think it's fun.
Yeah.
And see, that's one of the another things is it has to be fun. And
Hmm.
I'll get to F1 in a little bit, and I have a segue for that. Here's my pitch for James Bond. I want to combine a couple of things. I want to start out with a young man learning this world at the same time of trying to figure out what it means to be British. And I think I want to combine the grizzled changing of the guard of James Bond, kind of like the last film did, but with more of the Skyfall feel. And I want Damson Idris to be Bond, coached by a grizzled old white dude who is what Bond we think Bond is.
Hmm.
This Pierce Brosnan, suave, Michael Fassbender can drink and move with
I'm
these
sorry, sir.
words.
Did you say suave?
Suave, like
Okay.
Ricky.
Yeah.
Remember what suave, Ricky.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep. Yeah.
I know. I'm a man of a certain generation, sir. You're going
Uh
to
huh.
get these terms. Um, but I want to see like that archetype, not necessarily the Daniel Craig, because he was more of a blunt instrument. I want to see more of this, a grizzled Pierce Brosnan, Michael Fassbender, not Timothy Dalton, but that British, maybe even a Sean Connery. I want to see
You want
that.
to smacking women around? What are you saying?
I did not say that you did.
You
But
said Sean Connery.
here's the thing: I really can't talk too much shit because I have Leroy in one corner and Leroy in another corner. We're both black. and someone's going to screen crap this and say Leroy said, and I'm going to be like, God damn it. Um,
Okay, cool.
but I like the idea of a grizzled vet grappling with the changes of teaching someone to be Bond, and this idea of, I don't say warring cultures, but warring generations. We see it all the time online. This whole idea behind between Gen X, Boomer, Millennials, Gen Z. What happens when that generation class happens in the spy world?
Hmm.
What happens when these rookies who show up get hit with reality and saying, well, this is what I thought the world was. And this dude is like, well, you're fucking stupid. and then, and this young kid is like, yeah, but that's not the way the world should be. And here's this person saying, yeah, but that's the way the world is. And this other person, this kid saying, yeah, but we can make it what we want to. And the other guy going, huh, I never thought of it like that.
Hmm.
So, like, I want to see Denny take that on. That's what I would love to see. And
Okay.
partially, and I'm not being personal in the moment, partially, I think this idea of, because we're going through this right now, is what is American. I would like to see Bond tackle this idea of what is British,
Hmm.
because I think Britain and the UK has been dealing with that for a number of years, where we've seen our first person of color be prime minister. Um, I think we're grappling with some of these things, and I would love to see that in a film from somebody smart enough, Denny, who is, I think, can tell that story. So that's my pitch for Bond. Um, with that being said, what do you think we'll get first? The trailer, or something from Blade, or GTA 6?
Oh, that's a good little thing.
I got that
Um,
from, hold on, I got that from Black Girl Nerds on Thread.
okay.
They asked that question, and I said we'll get GTA 7 before we get before we get Blade.
I mean,
And you know
I
how I
don't
feel
know,
about
but,
GTA 6.
yeah, Blade is. It seems like Mahershala is still on board, which I do like him
He,
doing it. I
he
think that's cool.
he says he's still on
Um,
board.
I just don't. I don't know, man. You
I
remember we heard his voice at the end of Eternals,
Yeah.
and we're like, "Oh, he's coming soon." Nope,
Mhm.
he's not.
With Kit Harrington.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, no,
And who knows where they're going with Eternals and Kit Harrington?
yeah, yeah. Who knows? I think they might just write that off almost like who's the group with the Inhumans? They had
So
them. They had the TV show, and like,
here's the thing.
nobody's talking about Inhumans anymore.
Nobody's talking about it because that's not in continuity.
What do
Because
you mean it's not continuity?
I feel like they're acting like Inhumans and Agents of Shield didn't happen.
I don't know if they're not talking about Agents of Shield not happening. I feel more that way with Inhumans.
I think they're acting as if we don't talk about it, they not talking about it. Because
Hmm,
that's how it seems. Because I would love to see Ming Na in the MCU.
sure.
I would love to see her. Like, I'm shocked we have not seen her or Chloe Bennett, and maybe some of the grounded stuff that is Winter Falcon, or bringing them into Captain America: Brave and the Bold, Brave New World.
Hmm.
I think it's interesting we have not seen any of that. So I'm looking at them as them chalking it up as like, if you don't say shit, we not gonna say shit.
Hmm.
So
Could be, could be.
uh,
Um, where are we going?
where do you see
Oh
Blade?
yeah, Grand Theft Auto 6 definitely I think comes before. I think that game is released before we get our first trailer for Blade.
I think we get our first.
Because I think they are still trying to rescript whatever the movie's going to be, right?
Yeah, I don't think they even know what it is because I don't even think they have a director anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's off. I think GTA 6 probably does release in May, like they finally, because everybody kept getting upset about it getting delayed, and it did get delayed. But to be fair, it never had an actual date. They just said sometime 2025. So
And
I'm okay.
and I said this, you weren't getting it. I said we're not getting in this current generation. Uh, Consoles, I said this was PS6, Xbox, Pi, or whatever their nomenclature for the console is. I did
Mhm.
not think this game is coming out anytime soon. So that's me. So, but Blade, yeah, we'll get GTA 7 before we get Blade.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll get
Unfortunately,
we'll get GTA 6's DLC collected edition, Game of the Year edition before we get a Blade. Now,
do you think who would you want to direct a Blade movie?
interesting that you should ask. Fucking call Ryan Coogler.
That would be cool.
Call Ryan Coogler. He's already in the MCU. He's already directed. He's already proven he can do whatever you throw at him. He's already he's the executive producer behind Ironheart. He's doing Rogue.
That might not be a big
Whoa, whoa,
swing
whoa,
right now.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
That might not be a big swing.
I disagree, sir. I disagree. Here's the thing. Part of are you watching Ironheart?
I am going to start it this weekend.
Okay, so we should do a review, 3 episode review after you finish watching it because I only got the last one. I like Ironheart. I think on the merits, I think Ironheart is good. But what I'm saying is Ryan Coogler already knows the MCU. He already knows how to operate and navigate this world. John Favreau talks about this with other directors, and him and Josh Whedon, I think, had a conversation about like what it's like directing a Marvel movie. And I think that is a learning curve for some people. Coogler has proven he can handle big set pieces. I think he has proven he can handle horror with Sinners. And I think his team that he puts together, he can do Blade. Now, the question is, will they let him? And because I was on board with letting some new people take over Blade and do, but I agree with David S. Goyer, even though I may not like all of his work. I believe him when he says this one thing: Blade is easy. It's a ninja with a sword who's a vampire killing other vampires.
Sounds like a lot of cool buzzwords.
I mean, this ain't hard, people. I'm, you know what I feel like? Have you ever been to somebody's house and they cook and you're like, oh, you're making cheeseburgers? And they're like, they're grilling. And you're like, how do you fuck up cheeseburgers? Like people who put weird shit, like how do you fuck up something simple?
You
It's
mean like putting
bread,
raisins in a potato salad?
boom.
Yeah.
Like how do you mess up something simple? Like people who make chocolate chip cookies with raisins. It's like how do you mess that up? It's
Hmm.
Blade. It's a black dude who's a vampire who has some type of sidekick who kills other vampires and can walk around in sunlight. And he's cool. Like, really? I don't see how we don't have this movie.
Well, I mean, it's tough to make a movie.
Really? Is it? Because I've seen some movies that don't look tough to make.
Well, sorry, it's tough to make a good movie. It's not just
I'll give you
100%
that.
easy to make a good movie.
I'll give you that one. That's true. Um, who would you like to see do tackle Blade? What would you like to see from Blade? Do you do
I
you
like the idea of Ryan Coogler. I think that seems like a home run because he does know the system.
okay?
He can speak that voice, which I think is interesting and good. So I think that does work. I'm trying to think of somebody else.
I'm
Uh,
gonna ask you a set of questions. One, do you still rapid fire? Do you still want Mahershala as Blade?
yes,
Do you still want a Blade movie?
yeah, yes.
Okay. Do you want a Blade movie in the theater or we're straight to Disney Plus?
No, Well, that's not a yes or no. I don't know what the. Oh, okay.
Oh,
You want
do
they
you?
want yes or no. I went in. I went in theater.
Okay, you want it in theater, so you don't want just you don't want a Werewolf by Night.
No,
That's what I'm asking. Okay.
Marvel presentation or whatever those
Yes.
things are called. No, I don't
All
want
right.
that.
Here's my next thing. Do you want Marvel to start doing, and maybe you started with Blade, just good films that don't tie into the MCU? In other words, they can stand alone where you don't have to watch. Like, I think part of Brave New World's problem is you had to have watched Winter Falcon to get where we got here because some of that stuff was in Winter Falcon. Do you just want a Blade movie without any strings attached to the MCU?
No, I think they're a master of their own success, and because they've been doing that for six phases now,
Mhm.
I've come to expect it, and I kind of want it, and I'm almost upset when they don't because I've spent so much time watching all these movies. I need it to tie in some kind of way. I don't think I want standalone stuff.
So
Like I
that's
like the idea because okay, this you can tell your own thing, but no, I kind of or maybe it doesn't have to be as intricately connected as other stuff, but it's got to do something to all this stuff.
interesting that you say
You
that.
grew me to watch it that way. The people I want the people that did the Batgirl movie that got canceled and the first episode of Miss Marvel,
Mhm.
Bilal Falal and Adil El Arbi. If that's how you pronounce those names.
Hold on,
I like
stop.
those
Okay,
guys. I
so
like what they do. They did. Did they do the last two Bad Boy movies or the just the third one?
third and the fourth one.
Yeah, I like those guys. I like their
So
style.
when you did that just now, all I heard was old white granddad. That's all. Like when you were like Falal or whatever, I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna. I was like, we're not
Bilal
even big
Falal,
enough. I was like, we're not
Adil
even
El
big enough to
Arbi.
get canceled. I was like, Michael just went old white man on me, Archie Bunker. Um, no, I'm with you that it needs to connect. Here's
Hmm.
my thing. I don't need it to connect in an obvious way. I think a Blade movie works with you bring in Wong, you bring in Mordo, you bring in some of these other little ancillary things, but
Hmm.
I think Blade should stand alone as far as like not tying in so many other things, but just tangentially. Like you and I know who Wong is.
Hmm.
I think the viewing public, I don't think you need to be able you have to watch all 10 years of MCU stuff to get Blade. I think if you watch Blade, you get it just on its merits. And there's other things in for those people like myself, such as yourself, who have been watching this franchise for 10 years. You pepper that in. But I think Blade should be a standalone, kind of like what Deadpool was. I liken Blade to what Deadpool was, that it operates within the MCU, kind of like how Deadpool operated in Fox's X-Men universe,
Hmm.
but it wasn't so you didn't have to watch everything Fox to get Deadpool. If you watch the Fox stuff, you got a lot of the inside joke and Easter eggs. That's what I want from Blade.
Sure.
And then Blade can show up in other places, other areas. But I think just give me a good movie. And I think that's one of Marvel's biggest problems where there's so many different avenues and ways that they have to go to bring in certain things that you have to watch this to understand that. You have to do this. And they've set it up like a comic book universe, which I love. The problem is there enough of us to propel this forward? And that's where we are right now. Because personally, I love Ironheart. I'm enjoying it. I would like to see more to the comic
Hmm.
because I thought that series was awesome. I love the art. I loved um, everything about those initial first issues. So I'm enjoying it. But I do get people who are like, this is totally different. This is not like I do get those people who are like, this is not what I signed up for.
Sure.
But I'm enjoying it. So I do want to see Blade. I do believe that we will get the midterms and a new presidential election before we see a trailer for Blade.
Yeah, I won't put a bet on that. I would agree with that.
Yeah, that's where I am. I'm I
Because at this point, I almost feel like, hey, you know what? Let's let Robert Downey do his thing. Let's let Doom, whatever the
Doomsday.
new Avengers movies are going to be, if that's like a soft reboot of whatever to bring other stuff, let that happen, and then bring in Blade again at this point. Because
Yeah,
nobody's thinking of that one line of all the things and the loose ends that people are worried about. Few people are really worried about that one line from Blade, so it's fine. You got time.
you just gave me an idea for our next show.
Okay.
All of Marvel's loose ends.
Oh, geez. That would be a pretty good episode.
I mean,
That'd be fun.
but you brought up something I totally forgot at the end of Eternals, that Mahershala's voice. I
Hmm.
forgot about that. I forgot about Pip the Troll at the end of
You
and
forgot about Star Fox?
I forgot about Watermelon Sugar.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, go look up what Watermelon Sugar really is about.
I'm not gonna. I don't care enough about it.
You do.
I,
Mm,
probably something dirty.
it is.
Yeah,
Well, all I'm gonna say is,
that's how those crooners are. They sing a little dirty stuff to the ladies. Yeah,
hey man, I'm not knocking Harry Styles. I really like Harry Styles.
I
I think
like a lot of when his songs pop up on the radio. I listen. They're
uh,
enjoyable.
as it was, I think is one
Yeah,
of the greatest songs. It's a beautiful song. But anyway, I f- what are Marvel's loose ends that they need to tie up? And I find it funny because we just talked about this. Marvel Comics has a lot of loose ends, that things that writers did that never got resolved, and then like they finally got resolved, and you're like, that's what that meant. And it's like, no, that's not what the original writer meant, but that's what Marvel ended up doing. I would like to see what happens with, and not to spoil it, but like, what do we do with Kang? What do we do at the end of Eternals?
he
uh,
he's in the he's in somehow they borrow from the DC and he's in the Phantom Zone.
but here's the
King and
thing.
all his minions are in the Phantom Zone.
I Marvel
He
has a
ain't
lot.
coming back, bro.
Marvel ha- you say never. I think King's coming back.
Okay. Because
And I
here's the
was,
thing:
yeah.
even if Jonathan Majors didn't have all his issues, I don't know that like the overall crowd was really responding to Kang like they wanted.
I see. I disagree.
Okay.
I I think Jonathan Majors elevated King to a worthy adversary in Quantum Mania. I think him, because keep in mind, Jonathan Majors and Michelle Pfeiffer were the best thing about Quantum Mania.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They were the best thing about that movie. I bought their relationship. I bought the tension. I think Jonathan Majors is a good actor. Now here's the question. I believe you can bring King back, but I think only two people can play that character. And my first choice is Coleman Domingo.
Interesting.
I would love to see Coleman Domingo come and be Blade. My second choice
Not Blade,
for,
Kang.
for King. Sorry, you're right.
Okay.
For Col for King, my first choice is Coleman Domingo. My second choice to play King is Coleman Domingo.
Okay.
Those are the two people who I believe can play King. Coleman
I mean,
Domingo.
if Disney was really gangster, chat. If I'm wrong, correct me in the chat. And it is what it is. But the charges against Jonathan Majors were dropped or not dropped.
He was convicted.
He was convicted. Okay, never mind. All right,
Here's the thing.
forget
Here's
what
the
I
thing.
said.
Nope. Here's the thing. I am not advocating this. And I want to say this, a disclaimer, and we'll wrap up after this. And this is a bold way
Yeah,
to
this
wrap
about
up.
this hot take. Yeah, wrap up after this hot take. Like, comment, subscribe after this controversy he's about to say,
Drop that
please.
shit 'cause I'm about to say some shit.
Hmm.
I'm not
Hold on one
saying,
second. Hold on one second. Okay, go ahead.
oh man, you took the Leroy and the Leroy off
Hmm.
because I'm not saying you do this. But in today's climate, I believe Disney could get away with bringing Jonathan Majors back.
I think if he wasn't convicted, you could bring him back.
I think you can bring him back as convicted. Now, I'm not advocating. I'm not.
I
I'm
don't know.
not saying you bring him back. That is not
If
what I'm
Mike
saying.
Tyson did what he did when he got arrested now, would you be able to bring him back?
Mike Tyson has a children's cartoon.
Yeah, but that was before
Mm.
the women's Me Too movement took off.
Really? Louis C.K. is
Yes.
still selling out arenas.
Okay. I
Uh,
can't argue with
what,
that.
what I'm saying is, I'm not saying bring him back. I'm not advocating that. What I'm saying is, we have moved the goalposts to where people who are convicted of crimes in the Me Too era, companies have decided that we're going to risk employing certain people. Mel Gibson is back. Louis C.K. is still popular. He may not be on TV like he used to be. Louis C.K. has supporters. Dave Chappelle being
Yeah,
one.
but that is
And I'm not saying that this is. What I'm saying is, do not be surprised or shocked by the internet chatter that will advocate for Jonathan Majors to come back. And do not be shocked or surprised if he does.
okay.
That what I'm saying is that is the world we are living in. I personally do not want him to come back. Leroy is saying it, and Leroy over there is saying it. I personally do not want him to come back. I personally would like to see the role recast with Jonathan Majors.
No, not Jonathan Majors.
You're right, Coleman Domingo.
There you go. Like you just said that. Nope.
I
Get it right.
Leroy said that. Um,
Hmm.
uh, I personally want to see Coleman Domingo in the role because go look at Coleman Domingo's resume from Rustin on Netflix. Fear the Walking Dead, 4 seasons was really good. Me and my wife just finished that. He was amazing in that. Um, Madness, Netflix as well. I think Coleman Domingo has arrived. I would like to see him do more stuff. I believe he can pull off Kang. And but do not be shocked by some of these men and women who are accused of certain things back in the spotlight or the limelight. I'm going to give you a heads up, and some people are not going to like this. A name that you're going to see come back, and I've started to see it. We've already seen Mel Gibson on this trajectory of coming back. Do not be surprised if Kevin Spacey is back in a film.
Hmm.
Don't be shocked. Kevin Spacey has done a, a mea culpa tour, so to speak, where he admits he has had bad behavior, but he feels like I did not deserve what happened to me. And do not be shocked if you see some of these men who have been accused of certain things back in the spotlight of the limelight. And don't be shocked if you see some of them in your favorite franchises.
Okay.
That's not to say that I agree with it. I'm
You
just
heard it here, folks. Leroy is okay with it.
I,
Abuse and sex trafficking. Leroy is okay with it.
keep in mind both. There's a Leroy here and there's a Leroy there, so pick which Leroy you want.
Yep.
Uh, hey man, what got you through the week?
Hmm. So I've started playing, and I got want to get the name right because it is such a weird title. Claire Obscure Expedition
33.
33. Yeah.
Oh, let me know how
Um,
that is because I've heard so many good things about that.
it's really fun. I don't know if it's part of PlayStation Plus, but it is on Game Pass.
It's not.
Uh, okay, yeah, I'm playing it on Game Pass. It's great. The
It's not.
acting is great. The voice acting is great. The cinematics are great. I love the gameplay style. It's an RPG. It's an old school JRPG
It's a turn.
style.
It's a turn based too, right?
So it is turn based, but there are also active battle elements in it. Like you have to like time your button press to get more damage or to negate some damage from stuff. It's a lot of fun. Really enjoying it. Um, that's video game wise. I've been doing a lot of I've been doing a lot and also not a lot of cleaning up around my house. Me and my wife are slowly getting stuff to where we want it, which is nice.
Mhm.
It's nice to be like, oh, it's nice that we cleared this out because that means we can put more nerd stuff up. People have been
Bro,
following the show for yeah, people have
that's
been
important.
following the show for a while. Know that we like to put together Lego sets. So what we're doing, I don't know if you so you know the big room I have over my garage,
Mhm,
like where we do whenever I have a game night or whatever.
mhm.
So we've cleared out a lot of some of that older stuff to make room to put up Lego displays.
Mhm.
One of our plans is to get a couple of floating shelves, and so
Oh,
as you're going up the stairs, you'll see the Lego displays on the floating
mhm.
shelves that we put up. We're
Now
getting
here's
cases
a
for that
question.
stuff. Yeah.
The floating shells that you have, are you going to do they have a theme? Because I've seen some people when they build the floating shells for Legos, they have like so like if they build something from Ghostbusters, they bring a Ghostbusters poster, then put that in front of and with the floating shelves. Are you
We're not that advanced yet.
okay?
When you just said, "Hey, let's get floating shelves," I said, "Okay, I like it." So
This is
that's step one.
this is what happens when you tap into your inner white woman and you get on Pinterest and you see shit like that.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, I like that idea, but I don't know if it would be too much on the shelves. I almost feel like that would be something we would do inside a room, not
Here's
just
the
walk
thing, you
upstairs. I don't know.
the way that they've done this, it's doable if you
Okay.
don't have feral children like I do.
Mm,
Because
okay.
I say this because I had a floating shelf in Owen's room and I fell asleep before we taped this. And I don't know what happened, but I woke up to broken floating shelves.
Mm, okay.
So,
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah. So we've been working on that. I'm trying to think anything TV wise. We
Ironheart.
are taping this. Yeah, I guess I will watch Ironheart, and I'll make a just see how I feel about it.
Okay.
Trying to think of any movies that I've seen, anything streaming that I've watched. There are so many shows that I've started and need to go back to and finish. I still never finished Shogun. I kind of just fell off on that. I really liked it, but I just fell off when I go back and finish that. We are taping this, so this will go up on Saturday. Um, Folks, wrestling is fun. It's stupid. It's ridiculous, but it's fun.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Um, they just referenced a well-known wrestler, CM Punk, just referenced the Drake and Kendrick battle with comparing him and John Cena to Drake Kendrick. It was fantastic. They're in Saudi Arabia as this tapes or as this when you see this Saturday, they will have done their pay-per-view event in Saudi Arabia, so that'll be interesting. Um, I think that's about it for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, I'm trying to think. So, I'm enjoying work. I'm learning a lot. So I just
Still
wrapped
managing a bunch of people.
not managing them. Let me
Sure.
put it together.
Are they coming to you for answers? They ask you a lot of questions more so than other people.
No comment.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so I just wrapped up my show, Palmetto Perspectives, where we talked about affordable housing and attainable housing in South Carolina. Um,
Is
good
that a
show.
different thing, or is that just for affordable housing versus attainable housing? Is that different? I don't know.
So here's the thing. Not to get too much in the weeds, affordable housing and sustainable housing are the same thing. Affordable housing ended up with a moniker, and you will know this because we covered this. Remember when people say "not in my backyard"? That's how they felt about affordable housing. So they coined the term attainable housing,
Okay.
and so that's where that
Oh,
term.
is that because they were worried too many black and brown people were getting affordable houses? Okay, got it. Sure.
So now the new term, which people are now starting to realize, stop calling it that, and
Hey,
let's call it.
folks, black, white, brown, affordable housing is for everybody. It affects everybody.
So that's
Sorry,
what
go
we
ahead.
talked about. So
Yeah.
here's the thing. So the whole idea is people are starting to realize workforce housing is what we're going to call it because then you can call it that because it includes first responders, police officers,
Teachers.
teachers. Boom.
Yeah.
But that term should also include hospitality workers because what did we learn during the pandemic? If you want to take your ass to Chili's,
Yeah, you
you
need
need
people
those.
there working.
So anyway, to get past that, that's I just finished. my last one for the summer. So then the fall will bring two more shows, and that's in October, November. So I got a little bit of break. So I'm done with that. Um, I've been watching Ironheart. Rick and
Hmm.
Morty is back, which has been my has been pretty good for me. I really like Rick and Morty, and I like where the show has gone, and I like the fact that the show has grown. I love Rick and Morty. I'm still going back and now. I've Here's the thing: did you watch the Venture Brothers?
Yeah, those Venture Brothers.
So I'm going
Team
back.
Venture.
I'm restarting the Venture Brothers.
Okay.
Um, I'm restarting that, and I've been enjoying Ironheart. By the time you have watched this, I will have finished all of the episodes. I've watched the first two, and then the third one I want to watch, and then I want to do us a review of them and get your opinion because I there's a lot of chatter on the internet about like let's just let's look at it objectively and say, is this show good? Is this for us? Where do we stand? So that's where I want to go with that. Um, and game wise, I'm playing Destiny again, and I have some problems with it. There's some quirks where I think the game itself starts you on a path instead of starting you at the beginning if you're a returning player, take you back where it's like, no, they want to start you here. And it's like, no, I want to play all of the DLC that I missed, start from the beginning so the story doesn't get spoiled. So they do a bad job of that, but I'm enjoying it.
Okay. Cool.
Mhm.
Folks, that'll do it for us here. Leroy, wrap us up.
I'm Leroy. That's Leroy. This has been a Nerdy by Nature Productions, uh, presented by the We Trine channel. Um, we do this whenever we feel like it. So whenever we get time,
Hmm.
we've promised you that we'll be better. But according to the name, you signed up for this. We trying. We are literally trying.
And if you
Uh,
haven't signed up, please sign up.
yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit me up in the comments. I will answer these. I've been a little busy. I apologize. I will get to all of the comments. Um, we have On the Horizon, which we will be watching because I know Michael will actually make it to the theater, and I will as well. July is coming up. We have Jurassic Park. We have Superman, Fantastic Four. Three big movies that are coming out.
Let me know what your plans are for Superman, because if you are free that day, I may have a private theater available for you
I
if you want
will.
to make the drive.
When does Superman come out? July 11th.
July 11th.
I need to see. I don't know. I right now as it stands, I do not have a shoot scheduled. I do not have anything scheduled. But I did not take the day off. That does not mean within the next 2 weeks someone may not add something that I have to go take care of. Um,
Hmm.
excuse me. But yeah, I'm down. I'm definitely down. So I know those three things. Michael will make to the theater to see, and we will review
You said three things, or the three things?
Jurassic Park, Superman, and Fantastic
Oh,
Four.
Fantastic Four. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, got it.
yeah. I know my audience. I know you will make it to those three things. Dinosaurs and Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, check.
Sure.
Superman, check. Fantastic Four, Pedro Pascal, check. Yeah, we'll get those three. Um, so yeah, I know a lot of people are like, we do this 3 times a week. Yeah, we don't know when we'll do this.
To those people that do it 3 times a week, more power to you, man.
Hey man, and
Glad y'all have the commitment.
here's the thing. I be talking shit about the people who do it 3 times a week. I'm like, you should do it more. This is your. Meanwhile, we over here like, hey man, you free? Nah, man, I'm
Yeah,
watching wrestling. You free?
yeah,
Nah, my kid just bit me.
yeah.
When you were like, hey, you want to do this early? I was literally in the car, just picked both of them up. And Owen was like, I want a bowl of cereal, a spoon, and milk in a cup. And I was like, you don't want the milk in the bowl? No.
Nice.
That's the kind of night I had.
Hmm.
So, anyway, everybody, have a good week. Stay safe. Love what you love. Fuck them haters. Peace. We out.
Peace.